What we know is a drop. What we don't know is the ocean.
Hello, and welcome to the Newton Knowledge Podcast. My name is Mark Singer, partner of Newton One Advisors. The Newton Knowledge Podcast will provide meaningful content to our valued advisor community. Our discussions will deliver unique insights into the people, processes, and products that make our industry so critical. Newton One is a national life insurance planning firm delivering customized solutions structured to help clients and their advisors engaged in solving estate planning, wealth transfer, business succession, and executive benefits challenges. We are a member of the M Financial Group, which grants our clients access to the nation's elite carriers and exclusive products available only through our network.
I could tolerate any insurance seminar. For days, I could sit there and listen to them go on and on with a big smile on my face. I'd say, how can you stand it?
Today we're with Sean Rice, VP and Trust Officer at Garden State Trust Company, and Kevin DiMedio, founder of DiMedio Law. Today we'll discuss the importance of legal partnership early and often when considering trust planning for one's estate. Before we dive into that, tell us about your career path and current resources you provide for your clients. I'll start with you, Sean, and then I'll go to you, Kev.
Sure. So really, I've been in the trust and wealth management industry for my entire career, which is now 14 years, always with Garden State Trust Company. We were at the time a 5-year-old independent trust company starting in the East Coast of New Jersey. I was hired to expand our territory in the South Jersey, Philadelphia region. And we've been growing ever since as an independent trust company.
How many people are in your position at Garden State?
So we have currently 6 full-time senior trust officers.
Okay.
And then a handful of assistant trust officers, a number of trust administrators, all performing various different types of roles. But currently for us right now, it's 6 full-time trust officers.
And I should have started off with this, but I didn't. But thank you for hosting us. I couldn't find the entrance, but
thanks for
I was
coming
able
to New Jersey.
to. Yeah.
Yep. It was a longer trek for you, but
Yeah. Kev, tell me about your career path, how you started your own firm. I know you were at a larger firm first, but tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I started my own practice about almost a decade ago. And I left my big Philly firm for a variety of reasons. I had a ton of clients, and I do a lot of nonprofit charity events too. And my big Philly firm was not interested in that. So my wife gave me permission to start my firm.
Smart man.
It's going to be a decade.
Congrats.
Yeah. And it's good. I got most of my clients, I say this all the time, are small and medium-sized business owners. And I do a lot of nonprofit and charity events, as we talked about before. A lot of my services are kind of outside business services. I do a lot of real estate matters, commercial, all kinds of commercial real estate matters. I do residential matters. They are what they are, but it keeps clients in the fold. I say that all the time. And I do a lot of business succession planning and a lot of estate planning as well.
Yeah.
And I tell my clients, some of these clients that are older than me, the boomers, get something in place. And, let's see where you are, see where you were, see where you are and where you want to go. And I just try to be as efficient as possible with them.
Do you get into with these baby boomers? I keep hearing this and reading articles in Wall Street Journal and whatnot, and I don't know how much weight it holds, but this great wealth transfer everyone's talking about.
Oh.
I mean, are you involved with some of those discussions with your clients on preparing for that? I would imagine that's super important.
Yep. Again, a lot of the boomers, they're older than me. I'm a Gen X. You heard me say that
You
before.
look good. You look good for your age, Kevin.
According to my wife, I got to dye my beard or do something. Anyway, with all that said, again, these boomers, they're kind of all over the place, but some of them are pretty good. The boomers, some of my best clients that have been married for a long, long time.
Yeah.
They're very simple and straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
And then, sometimes they get divorced 2 or 3 times, and that is what it is. But I just try to be as efficient as I can with these boomers. And depending upon where they are, if they're going to wind down a business or start a new business, if they're selling their business completely full, or if they're just going to do the assets and then wind down that business.
Yeah.
Just try to be as efficient as possible for them.
So before we get into the topic for our discussion today, Sean, I'll start with you. If you could create a holiday, what would it be called and how would you celebrate it?
Well, I don't know if this is novel. I know I stole this one, but I think it's a great idea, and I don't know how it hasn't been implemented. But I think we need to finally, at long last, create the day after the Super Bowl. being a national holiday.
You're going to hate this. Has been said on this podcast.
Well, because it's a genius idea.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest. Everyone else is going to a Super Bowl party. It starts at 6:30 p.m.
Yep.
And everyone's staying up for the entirety of it.
Yep.
So let's
And
just
the day after, they just really can't do anything.
right.
Yeah.
And it's usually a week later that they have President's Day, which might be the most
Yeah.
non-consequential holiday. So let's just move that. We don't have to add a holiday. Just move it and rename it.
I love it. You know, you golfed with the person who said that on this podcast a week or so ago.
I don't recall that.
Yeah. Yep. Kevin, you're not answering that one. You are answering, if your life had a theme song, what would it be?
Theme song?
Yeah. Unless you want to answer that one, you fire away.
If my life had a theme song?
Yep.
I mean, it could be Sade, could be Karen Carpenter, could be a few others.
Why
don't
so?
know any of those songs.
Yeah, I don't even. Who are those? The names of the songs? Or are these the artist?
They're the artists.
Okay.
Sade is just phenomenal. I saw her twice.
She's a
Karen
singer.
Carpenter, she died I think in her mid 40s.
Okay.
Karen Carpenter, oh, she was a great singer.
Like
But they got great songs.
Aretha Franklin singing, or like what type of singing?
No.
No, my way
Karen
off.
Carpenter, she and her brother, they did great songs
Okay.
for a long, long time. She was really good. But the songs, when I was in, I'm going to know you for this, because when I was in the 80s, right?
Your hair was a lot longer.
It was a lot longer. It was a lot different color too. But in the 80s, the Police,
Oh, I love the police. Now I can understand
In
what you're talking
Excess,
about.
that guy died early. In
Yeah.
Excess was great. And like I said, Sade was good. There was a few others that were good, and
Well, that's deemed like classic rock, right? Is that the kind of genre, or is it a little?
yeah, classic rock is really, I'm going to say, late 60s, early 70s.
Okay.
When you hit the 80s, it's a little bit different.
All right.
Then you hit 90s, that's all over
More
the
grunge,
place.
yeah, alternative. That's
Yep.
Nirvana.
Yeah, there's songs all over the place these days.
Yeah.
Some of the songs I remember when I was, I know you for this therapy, I was born in 1965. And, during my first 10 years, I was with my grandfather. And he just wanted to hear Dean Martin,
Yeah.
Frank Sinatra,
Yep.
and others. And I listen to them all the time, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dean Martin just cracks me up.
We listened to that during dinner. My wife made a name of Stefanoni. So there you go. We have that in common.
Yep. But there's a lot of great songs out there. Great songs.
Well, that's good. I mean, we could talk about music for 30 minutes, but we have time constraints. So let's start with trust planning.
Sure.
Sean, I'm gonna start with you. So there's many trusts: irrevocable, revocable, slats, ILETs, special needs trust, CRTs, whatever it may be. But for the sake of this podcast and keeping it under 30 minutes, let's focus on 2 or 3 trusts. But in practical terms, to our audience, describe the importance of a trust and the problems it solves for families and individuals beyond a basic will.
Sure. Well, obviously, to get more specific about certain types, particularly on this podcast and with your role in insurance planning, Mark, I would say, irrevocable life insurance trusts can really be a valuable estate planning tool, as you know. But for your audience too, really the main concept of it is a unique irrevocable trust that back in 1962 was sort of tested in the concept of a gentleman by the last name Crummy.
Makes sense.
Clifford Crummy, I believe his first name was.
Yeah.
An unfortunate name, but he came up with this ingenious idea that, hey, if I create this irrevocable trust, make a contribution to it, I'm going to claim it's qualifying for the annual gift tax exclusion, which normally, as you both well know, is normally a gift of a future interest in an irrevocable trust. So, however, in this case, if he said, well, if I give the beneficiary the right to withdraw it within a certain period of time, then it would qualify for the annual exclusion because it's a gift of a present interest. And in doing that, you're able to make annual exclusion gifts to an irrevocable trust, have the trustee purchase a life insurance policy, and ideally have those policy proceeds not included in the grantor's estate, which obviously for federal estate tax planning reasons is extremely valuable. Charitable planning, wealth replacement strategies. A lot of times we as a trust company will get asked to serve as the trustee for these ILETs, and I think you'll hear the same refrain from every trust company that only if it's part of a larger relationship will we do it, and that's because administratively sending out those crummy letters and notifying these beneficiaries that you have this right to withdraw the funds versus how much you could realistically charge for that is not economical. I had mentioned this to you guys before, but we were always taught in trust school that what you should do if you're the trust creator here is have that sort of walk around the block talk with the family. Take your kids around the block, tell them you're setting up this trust. Here's how it works. We're going to put money into it. You have the right to withdraw it, but don't mess up the plan.
Yeah.
Hint, hint, wink, wink. Don't take the money out. That's really how it works. You're giving them the option to take it out, but ideally they don't, and then the funds can be used to hopefully offset some federal state taxes in the long run.
Yeah, you're speaking my language now, all while simultaneously reducing one's taxable estate and making those gifts.
Generally.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is. It's a highly leveraged strategy.
Yep.
So that is an area where trust companies can get involved. Specifically with Garden State Trust Company, an area where we get involved with a lot is special needs planning. Special needs trusts, we serve as trustee for them. Very often I'm having conversations with families who are younger and are setting up their estate plans with their attorney, and their attorney's creating a future special needs trust. For a lot of those families who are growing their assets, they're building wealth, they're working, they don't have a ton right now, but they will. I'm oftentimes recommending they consider a second to die survivorship policy, really mainly to provide that relief of the catastrophic risk of them both passing away very early, while they don't have a lot of assets, while the child is still young. And it just provides that immediate liquidity in that time of tragedy.
Yeah.
Plus the parents are incredibly insurable. It's obviously a very cheap policy. So it's really a no-brainer, and I recommend it almost every time I'm talking with families.
I didn't bring you on to just pump up insurance, but we'll take it. Can you, and this is for both of you, chime in however you please, but if you could distinctly define the duties of a trust officer and then also the estate planning attorney involved in these types of plans, how would you do that?
Well, I won't speak for Kevin, but I mean, we're both clearly have a duty of loyalty. Ours is a fiduciary duty to the trust beneficiary, both current and remainder. So we get nominated as a trustee. We have to take into consideration the best interests of the beneficiaries. And sometimes that can be a difficult balancing not only the current beneficiaries who are receiving the principal and income distributions, but also who would stand to inherit when they pass away. It can be a tough balance, but at the core of what we do, those are the principles that we have to live by,
Yeah.
operate by.
What do you think, Kev?
Yeah, depending upon where my clients are coming at me and, what their stage is in life and all that kind of stuff, I tell them, look, if they're a husband and wife, we do this joint revocable living trust, right? When one passes away, it goes to the other, and the other one passes away, goes into the trust.
Harmonious situation.
Yep.
Yep.
And that joint revocable living trust, you can put a lot of stuff in there. And if they've got a special need trust or whatever, if they got a kid or needs that, they can separate that one too. And he's talking about the ILET trust, that is what it is too.
Yeah.
I've got some clients that have gone down that path, but then they want to get that one done. They want to decant that one. You can't
State tax changes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can't make this stuff up. But once on some of my clients, they hit that 59 point half of their age, and then they start going back into their investment stuff, things like that.
Yeah.
But I tell them, try to, let's do this, let's do that, let's figure out what you want to do, and with all these trusts or whatever, and things related there too, and your investment accounts, where are they going to go when someone passes away, because that'll stay outside of probate.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, not to pump up insurance even more, but I went into this conversation with a lot of different areas where, like, we as a trust officer, as a trust company who are serving as a trustee or as an executor in estates, having all the different buckets of assets that are eventually going to flow into the continuing trust or outright to the beneficiaries, even a smaller, simple life insurance policy can be helpful to provide that immediate liquidity.
Yep.
But obviously the main thing that you pointed out there is the avoidance of probate, which
It's crucial.
it is, in certain states it's more valuable than others. In Florida, it's almost automatic to create a revocable living trust, particularly with out-of-state property or in-state property in Florida. New Jersey's process is not that bad, but at the same time, it still takes many, many months for these assets to become available as opposed to that immediate liquidity. So, yep.
Have you guys had the opportunity to work with each other on a case? And you can answer that, but also how important is it for two advisors such as yourself to collaborate and be on the same page?
Yeah, well, I'll say this first. As an attorney, when I started my practice, like I said before, a better part of a decade ago, I always like to bring in everybody.
I love it.
My clients, the real estate agent, if they're dealing with things there, their investor, their finance people, their accountant, whatever it is. You bring everybody to the table and you get everybody up to speed, and it really becomes so much more efficient for the client.
Yeah.
And it gets them, we get up to speed where they are and where they need to go and what they want to do. And I just think that, they get everybody to the table. I hate to be the repetitive old man, but it really helps them to move forward. They get everything in place they need to do, if they need to change certain things. And I've got some clients, you might have heard say this before, they do those bank accounts, the TD, what are they called?
TOD.
Yeah, the TOD and the POD ones.
Yep.
And they just do that because, they're comfortable with that and they want to do that. And that's, that's going to stay outside of the estate probate, right? And a lot of times they do the estate deed for their house, and that stays outside probate too.
Yeah.
The estate plan did that estate deed. When they pass away, it already goes to people right there.
Yeah.
And to Kevin's point, it's even more vital to make sure that all the professionals in the client's life are talking with each other. Their attorney, their trust company, whether they have an outside advisor or not, and their accountant, because so many things that we've seen the pitfalls, right, where the client goes to the estate planning attorney and they draft their documents and they think they're done. They're tired, they want to move on, but they have to then go to the financial institution to update the beneficiary designations to make sure everything flows in the right way. I've seen situations, my parents are trust estates attorneys, elder law attorneys. I can't tell you how many times they've told me that the difference between their clients coming in saying, my accountant said I can gift $19,000 or $20,000 to whoever I want. There's no tax costs. That is true. However, Medicaid thinks differently. Yeah. So there's just this coordination needs to happen. These conversations need to happen, or else disaster can strike, or plans just become incomplete and they fall apart.
Yep.
I love the idea of bringing all advisors to the table. That's how Newton One works.
Yep.
We prefer to work. And sometimes, in our case, usually I would consider you more like the quarterbacks of this entire process from estate planning. We're just a small piece of it. And we can be at the table at first. Yeah. But as we unfold more things and you can do more, I would say, appropriate planning, sometimes we fall off of the table because it just doesn't make sense to put insurance in place.
Yeah.
But that's where we rely upon the both of you to say, if it does, we can do it in a pretty good way.
Yeah.
What missteps, you mentioned one about Medicaid, are there any missteps you want to share on planning from a trust and estate planning standpoint?
Well, those are two big ones I would say is making sure that the estate plan jives with the financial plan and all the other beneficiary designations that are out there, particularly like we see with special needs planning, where parents will go through this very exhaustive process. It's an emotional process, and they draft their estate planning documents, but then they don't take that second step to update the life insurance policies, the retirement accounts.
Yep.
The TOD, that's a common misstep too, where people forget about it, or they,
Yep.
So it really does require comprehensive review and multiple advisors looking at their plan to see if they can catch something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of the banks, some of my clients, they like the TODs, they like the PODs. Some of them, they just want to do a joint bank account. And God forbid one of their spouses passed away, they're going to do a joint bank account with their daughter or their son or whatever it is. And the joint bank accounts, when one passes away, it goes to the other.
Yeah.
Right? Automatic. Yeah.
So, see where that goes.
Well, and I always, sometimes feel a little uncomfortable, especially when working with a new attorney for the first time and they're writing us into a will or a trust. And we typically, in a future nomination, will just say, listen, we'll review the document. Usually it's an informal review. I can return it back in 24 hours. We're just looking for the main things. But occasionally when I'm looking at that document, I notice something and I ask a question and bring it up to the attorney. Sometimes it's a minor typo or a small mistake, but sometimes it's more of a question from our perspective, as we're the ones going to be administering this trust. We have a different viewpoint as to how a trust operates from an administrative standpoint. Sometimes the attorney can give us, from a drafting perspective, the reasons why they do something.
Yeah.
And the feedback going back and forth is really helpful, I think, both from them and from us.
It's so important to challenge each other, not be combative, and then sometimes as you say it out loud, you think about what the goal and objective is of the estate, and you're like, oh, maybe I should change that.
Sure.
Yep.
What about wins? What what estate planning wins or trust implementation wins you can share, or cases you can share, keeping everything confidential, of course, or any types of cases you want to elaborate on for our audience?
Take your victory laps.
Yeah, I'm not sure with that one. I say this all the time too, and I'm going to owe you for this therapy. I've had several clients that are, I don't know if they're boomers or a little bit older, but they have the written estate plans. And
Wow.
you cannot make this stuff up.
And is that,
And-
you could do that in Jersey, right? Can't you have
Well, it depends. So the surrogate's office at the county level.
Yeah.
I want to say this too. Back in the day, I don't know, this might have been 2-3 decades ago.
Yeah.
They had to do the self-proving affidavit. Now a lot of these surrogate's offices are just taking, 3-4 page will that was just signed, maybe witness, that's it.
Wow.
And they accept it. So I don't know, we got to see where it's going. I hate to be the cranky old man talking about post-COVID, everything's different.
That's interesting.
ChatGPT, I say it all the time, but again, the estate plans are what they are. I am still doing a very, how should we say, a very clear estate plan that's signed by them. They went through it. We have witnesses. We do the self-proving affidavit, and then we do the powers documents,
Yeah.
right? Healthcare directive, the powers of attorney. We might do limited powers of attorney if they got businesses or things related there too. And I tell them, like he talked about before, your investment accounts. Where are you at? Who are you with? Get those beneficiaries things out of, put them in the trust, or put them somewhere else, that kind of thing. And that stays outside of probate.
Yep.
Yeah, it really, in terms of specific wins, I would say what, more so how we add value, how a trust company, I think, adds value, I think is really being sort of that financial advisor / planner plus, I like to call it, where yes, we can manage the assets, yes, we can do financial planning, but we offer this very specific ability to serve as a trustee, as a fiduciary, as an executor within clients' estate plans, which really can then provide a multi-generational solution for a family.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we'll get brought into a case, or an attorney will refer us to be a future nominated trustee or executor, and the clients will come in thinking it's just a conversation about how will we settle their estate when they die. And they're missing, I think, the biggest phase that oftentimes they don't want to think about, or didn't even begin to think about, is incapacity planning.
Yeah.
And what happens if you become incapacitated and your spouse maybe predeceased you. Powers of attorney are important. A revocable living trust can be a great tool with a trustee stepping in to really help, I think, work with perhaps a financial power of attorney candidate or a healthcare power of attorney candidate the family has, and take a lot of the pressure and the burden off of their shoulders, who otherwise they would have fallen squarely on. So that's sort of, I think, where we try to every day provide, whether it's a future planning or it's a current implementation, that a peace of mind for the families who meet with us.
Well said. I can tell we're coming up on time. Is there anything you want to share with our audience before we close this thing out?
I would say this, that, and you're going to get something in place. I talk about that with estate planning, business succession planning, and all that stuff too. But some of the boomers, they have no interest in business succession planning.
I mean, they work
But-
so hard
Yeah.
to create the business.
Yeah.
But then you talk about transitioning it or continuing it.
Yep.
And it's like you're talking in outer space.
Yeah.
They're so focused on the day-to-day.
It's true.
that They don't.
Yeah.
And they also don't want to think about their own mortality and whether
course
it's
not.
passing away or incapacity planning. So I always joke that estate planning is like going to the dentist. You have to do it on a regular basis, but you just
Yeah.
aren't excited to do it. So whatever, as an advisor, I think the best thing you can do is whatever, I'll say, impetus you could remind them or give them to motivation, I should say, to get them to the table is doing them as good of a service as you possibly can.
Yeah. Get them excited about it.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's so simple, but so important.
Yep.
Sean, thank you for hosting us. Kevin,
pleasure.
it's always
Yeah.
good to see you.
Absolutely. Good
Thanks for being
here.
on. Appreciate your time.
Yep.
Likewise.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Bye. Goodbye.
The material and opinions voiced are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine what is appropriate for you, please contact a member of our team.